Hey, I'm Rachel,
And I'm Amanda, and this is Beyond a Ballot.
powered by DoorDash. Hello, and welcome back to Beyond a Ballot. This is a little bit of a different episode. We don't have our friends Hannah and Kathleen with us anymore, and we're so sad. But Amanda is here with me to break down the federal election, everything that happened afterwards, and really dive into where we sit politically in this country. Hi, Amanda.
Hi. Oh my goodness, I miss our daily check-ins and our little quad, the four of us getting on for our 15-minute chats. It feels like 6 million years ago and it feels like 6 seconds ago at the same time.
We have to start obviously by saying a huge thank you to Hannah Thibodeau and Kathleen Monk for joining us for the duration of the federal election. It was not an easy task to ask them to join us every single day to give us their insights and for Hannah to lead the conversation. They went above and beyond our expectations and we love them so much. And so if you're listening, we love you guys and thank you.
And we will hopefully have them back.
Yes.
There will be many moments of discussion where it'll be nice to have some extra voices, and they will be our first call. And a big thank you to all of you who tuned in every day and connected with us, and also connected with us over social. We saw your comments. We really appreciated your posts, and we can't wait to keep the conversation going. And we have lots to talk about.
I know. But on that note, I know there are a lot of people that started following us during the campaign. So to you guys, hello. We are so thrilled to have you here. Just for context, we're on the tail end of season 2 of our podcast. And typically we release our episodes on Friday mornings. And they are longer episodes. This isn't the 10 minutes that you're used to. This is more like 45 to an hour, depending on if we have a guest. And we've had some amazing guests. So if you haven't had the chance to go back and listen to some of our older episodes, I think it's probably worth doing that too, for the context of how this usually goes. But you can expect us in your wherever you get your podcasts, on Spotify or Apple, every Friday morning. So welcome. All right, should we dive in?
Let's dive in.
Okay.
Rach, my first question is for you. So last time we were together was late in the evening on election night. So we held a Beyond a Ballot podcast party.
That's right.
And we all had our stripes, but we were there more to have a great conversation, a really awesome conversation with a bunch of women who are, keenly interested in politics. So last time we saw each other, we were sitting side by side. We were doing our first Instagram live.
Yeah.
The results were pouring in. Early in the night, the Liberals had been, called to win the minority. But as the night went on, those numbers were contracting. And, we were on a roller coaster of a ride.
We sure were. No kidding.
Everyone wants to know.
Yes.
How are you? Rach also told me that she's been asked this question many, many times since Election Day. So I'm asking it here for all. Rach, how are you?
I was at a gala last night and I walked through the room. People were like flocking towards me like, are you okay? Are you okay? I will say I am totally fine. I mean, this is politics. We've been doing this for a long time. And so nothing will ever, and I think if you're a former Harper staffer, like if you were there in like the first few years of government, when the first conservative party in this country, and nothing will ever feel worse than election night in 2015 when we lost government after a decade. So I always compare to that in all of my election losses since. But I think ultimately I feel okay. I felt okay on election night. I was really bracing for the potential that there was going to be a real mandate behind the Liberals. And this isn't to say that they didn't get a mandate. They did, but they obviously didn't get the majority government that they potentially could have. They came very close and closer than we even thought on election night. They flipped one seat since. it's very interesting. And when we have situations where the margins are so close, we're talking, what is it, 2 seats, 3 seats, the Liberals need for majority. This is where politics gets fun. It gets interesting. It's like, how are they going to govern? Who are they going to work with? What are they strategically doing behind the scenes right now? And I think as a conservative, there was a little bit of solace in a few things. One, the fact that we picked up 25 seats across the country. So that's a huge win for us. When I look at British Columbia, my province alone, we picked up many seats here, some of those from the NDP, which drastically declined in this province. And I think that since the election night, there's been a lot of unity amongst conservatives in terms of rallying behind Pierre Poilievre, who ultimately lost his seat, which is the biggest pain we had since election night. He's going to have to get a seat. He is now going to be running in Alberta. But ultimately, I think it wasn't the outcome we wanted, but I'm doing okay. And I think the party's doing okay. The question is, what's our timeline to go back to government now? I think that's what's on the mind of a lot of conservatives that I've been talking to.
Yeah, for me, I think that there were 3 kind of major headlines that came out of election
Wait, how
night.
are you feeling?
Oh, how am I feeling?
Yeah,
I
were
mean,
you
I'm
surprised?
feeling great. I feel very, listen, for a long time, if you've been listening to this podcast, you know that for a long time, I was like the sad one on the podcast.
Right.
I was oh God, it's going to feel so dear. Nobody was more surprised than I was at the turnaround over the last few months. And I think that nobody could have predicted that turnaround. The fact that the Conservatives were really enjoying a 25-point lead and somehow lost that lead will go down as one of the more remarkable stories in political history, especially after governing for so long. And obviously, many circumstances led to that outcome. We've talked about a lot of them, but just a brief recap. The fact that the Conservatives were so effective in their communication around 2 key things, that Trudeau had to go and that the tax had to be axed, so successful that both of those things happened exactly too early before an election was called. And so the things that they were known for and the things that they had run on consistently became null and void just before an election call, which means that the Liberals were able to frame in many ways the ballot question. Now, we can talk about the fact that there were a few ballot questions, but one of those was very much influenced by the global circumstances, and in particular, Trump's presidency and all of the uncertainty that injected amongst Canadians, the tariffs, the impending trade war, and the questions around our sovereignty and his continued claim about the 51st state. All of that meant that issues that used to trump all other issues like affordability had to make room for a brand new issue to take front and center stage. And the Liberals sort of consistently talked about that issue: Trump, the trade war, how to deal with Trump, who would be best positioned to deal with Trump. With a new leader, they were able to shed some of the baggage that they had with Trudeau, with the end of Trudeau's leadership. And they were really able to position Carney as a fresh person, in a fresh leader, in, an otherwise, I think some people were describing it as a tired party, a party that had been leading for 10 years. And Canadians believed that. They believed that this was a fresh new leader and that ultimately Carney would be the best person to deal with Trump. So that was what led to this. But I think my 3 takeaways from the election, which I'd love to talk to you about, are: 1, the unbelievable implosion of the NDP.
Unbelievable.
And what happens next?
Yep.
So that A. B, the surprising loss of Poilievre's seat. And then what happened next, which was, the crazy realization that he can't even be the official leader of the opposition because he requires a seat in the House of Commons.
Yeah.
So like having to move out of Stornoway, facing leadership reviews. I think that is an interesting
Mm-hmm.
area. And then the third is the Liberals. If you're going to put on a fresh face,
Mm-hmm.
do Canadians now expect you to do that in cabinet? And I think those are three kind of interesting takes that we can dive into.
Totally. Okay, what should
So
we
over
dive
to
into?
you.
Which one should we
Over to
do
you, girl.
first? All right. Oh my God. Let's start with my favorite topic of discussion, which is the role of the NDP in this campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So we went in, I think they had 24 seats before going into this. They are down to 7. That means they do not have official party status in the House, which
Yep.
is a big problem. And here's why. When you have official party status, you get staff, you get budget, you get questions during question period, you get seats on committees. Now, the NDP will not have that. I mean, they're probably talking a lot to Elizabeth May because the Greens have never had official party status in the House. And
Mm-hmm.
she's been there trying to negotiate different questions and seats on committees for years. And so now all eyes aren't on whether the NDP will go to the House and ask for some of those privileges that Elizabeth May has been able to negotiate in the past. So having more representation on committees, having more time to talk in the House. In terms of the budget, that is really brutal for them. And the reason is they just spent a ton of money externally through the campaign. They reportedly have very little money left. They have a leader who just resigned after only winning 7 seats, 3 in British Columbia, and we're an NDP stronghold out here. And so they have to run a leadership race. They need to boost their profile. They need to fundraise. And so there's a lot of questions right now about what is the future for the NDP. My gut, and maybe this is because I'm from BC, and we have an NDP government here provincially, but I don't think they're going anywhere. I think they will be reclaimed. I think that they will find somebody who is the right fit for leader. Jagmeet Singh, from the very beginning, came in. Mm-hmm. Everybody was so excited. He was the TikTok leader, and he just never played out. He never got the support that he needed. And so I think this is a fresh start for the NDP. With the right leader, they will be able to fundraise. They will be able to attract new talent to run for them. My eyes obviously are on Wab Kinew. And currently although everyone's telling me that's not going to happen.
Do you think Wab Kinew is going to run for leader?
If that happened, I think it's a whole different game. I really think this whole federal thing is a different game with Wab Kinew there as the NDP
We love
leader.
Wab Kinew.
We love Wab Kinew. There's a lot of people across party lines that love Wab Kinew. He weighed in today on a little bit of what happened with the federal NDP, but didn't rule out running. So maybe there's a chance there. I don't know if he speaks French, but that's just me wishful thinking. David Eby, who's the NDP premier of BC, has been asked. He said no, but Rachael Notley's name, the former premier of Alberta, has been floated around, which would be pretty awesome, I think, for them. But okay, so all this to say, they played a big role in the campaign. The Conservatives lost a lot of support because NDPers weren't splitting the vote in a lot of ridings. And so as a Conservative, I hope that they get revived, but also I think it's good for our democracy to have that third party and that left party, like somebody talking about social programs more and giving Canadians different perspectives on how we can approach policy.
Well, and what do you think about so when you're negotiating to have things like party status or to be able to have seats on committees, how does that play into what the Liberals require in terms of their votes? So,
totally,
for everyone listening, they're 3 shy of what they need for a majority. So they still need the support of other members from other parties. So does that go into an early negotiation, do you think?
I think it does. And I also think that Mark Carney, we've seen over the last few days, has approached this negotiation differently than Justin Trudeau did.
Mm-hmm.
You'll remember there was the supply and confidence agreement with the NDP previously. I mean, the numbers were different. They needed many more than they do today. But Mark Carney has said very early on, I think it was like one of the first things he said, he's like, we're not going to make a deal with them. We're not going to ask them to cross the floor. And I think what he's going to do is really take that on a case by case basis, and also what he can throw at them to kind of leverage their need versus his need to get stuff passed. And so it's kind of a business technique. It's been interesting to see that business mind come out in the last, since the election. And like, you know, he did run on the idea that he is this great economist and this great business leader. And we are starting, to his credit, to see some of that as he's navigating the prime ministerial ship.
For sure. Yeah, okay. For sure. So the second area was on Poilievre. Not winning his seat, not being able to be leader of the official opposition, which is crazy. A lot of people can't understand. People kept writing to me because I posted about it. And they're like, well, how come Carney would have been able to be prime minister without a seat? This feels like a weird loophole.
Yeah, exactly.
Why? How can you be prime minister without a seat, but you can't be leader of the official opposition? Like, procedure girl, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically the answer, though, that it is parliamentary procedure that you don't require that seat to be the prime minister. For context, the leader of the opposition in Canada is an actual position. It's not just like, oh, you're the second guy, so you get this like fancy title in a house. It's like actually recognized within parliamentary procedure. It's official. You get a house, like I said. You can get to be recognized as the king's leader of the opposition. You need to be elected to a seat. So what Pierre lost is that official title within the House. And
so he's still the party leader.
He is still the party leader. Exactly. He is just not recognized as the leader of the king's loyal opposition. Andrew Scheer, who is the former leader of the Conservatives, has now become the interim leader, which we can also talk about. I think it's a great choice. I mean, this is somebody that knows the role.
Why do you think so?
Because Pierre is going to
I think there were better choices. I'm just going to put it out there right now. I think what happened to the deputy leader choice? Melissa Lantsman.
We're all rooting for Melissa Lantsman.
Of course we are.
We would have, if Melissa Lantsman is listening, she should have run. But there's also a downside to running for interim leader. And that is you become this leader, and in this case, it looks potentially like it could only be a few weeks till the end of June when this by-election can be called and Pierre can run. And if he wins the seat, he'll be back. And so what they need right now is just somebody that nobody's going to fall in love with. Nobody's going to be like, hey, you know what? That's actually a great leader. We'd like them instead. They also need somebody that they don't have to train because it's only a couple of weeks. Andrew's been there forever. Andrew was there when I started. That was like 25 years ago in Ottawa. And so he is the guy to just kind of hold the team together until Pierre can come back into the House. I think that was the right decision. Obviously, we'd like to see other people. If one day long from now, there is a leadership race in the Conservative Party, we're all rooting for Melissa Lantsman, of course. But I think for the current weird situation that they're in, Andrew wasn't a bad choice.
But there's also some interesting little fun reality TV drama, which is around, does Pierre Poilievre, he's supposed to, but he may not, move out of Stornoway?
No, I am told he is not moving out of Stornoway. Nobody is making him move out of Stornoway. That's what the latest that I've heard. I don't know. Now everybody's going to see a picture of him like lifting his couch out of Stornoway now that I've said that. But I'm told. Andrew
Scheer, when he was questioned about that yesterday, he said that it was still under discussion.
Oh, it is. Okay.
It's still under discussion, just so Rachel doesn't get in trouble.
Oh my God.
But he said, you know, and I thought this was a smart answer because, you know, there's a lot of ways that he could be attacked for staying in that house.
Yeah.
Because like he's Mr. He pretends to be Mr. by the rules, right? So he doesn't leave the house. I don't know. Like there's some ways that people could get a little like antsy about that one. But what Andrew Scheer said was, listen, it's also expensive to like move someone out of a house and
That's
then
right.
potentially move them back into a house. And those are taxpayer dollars. So, but are
The
they?
economic argument.
Are they taxpayer dollars if you are not an elected official?
For
I
sure.
don't know, Andrew
Yeah.
Scheer.
No, you are, because the taxpayer dollars move you in, the taxpayer dollars move you out. If you lose your seat, this is what it's in. This is the situation it's there for. I mean, if you're no longer the leader of the opposition, you got to go, and taxpayers are on the bill for that, on the hook for that. So,
guys,
yeah,
this
the
is
economic
crazy
argument.
because we don't get this very often. This kind of like somebody has to move out of the house.
I know.
Oh my God. Somebody's going to change the curtains. Oh my God. Like,
I know.
This is way more exciting than Canadian politics usually gets.
My God.
So we will take it while we got it.
Yeah. Is Carney living in Rideau Cottage? That's the real question. So the Prime Minister also gets a house. Many of you have probably heard of 24
Sussex.
This
is a sad story.
24 Sussex is in bad shape. It really is. Bad. There are mice. There are, I don't even mold. What else is in there? It's such a bad situation.
Like, it's uninhabitable.
It's uninhabitable. So Justin Trudeau moved out to Rideau Cottage, which is a secondary home of the Prime Minister.
Let's pause there for a minute, though.
Yes.
Our Prime Minister's house is uninhabitable.
Correct.
Think about the lunacy of that.
Well, I will say.
Do you know why it's uninhabitable?
Why?
I mean, I'm going to make a kind of by the way, guys, if you were listening to us during the during our 38 days on the daily, you saw our partisan colors come out. And when we do this podcast, we're usually not that partisan. But I'm going to make a wee little partisan comment
and say the Conservatives wouldn't spend money.
Conservatives would not allow the Prime Minister of Canada to get rid of the rodents in 24 Sussex. And so the Prime Minister has actually not lived in the Prime Minister's house because it's inhabitable. Now, we have lost the plot as a country. If we cannot have a house that can be habitable. So am I right?
Not yes and no. So the problem is the Conservatives didn't want to sink more money into this already decrepit building. The idea was more that we need a full-time solution. We can't just keep patching up this house. Right. And it's very expensive. It's like millions and millions and millions of dollars. The other thing to really recognize is that the Prime Minister's residence in Canada is not like the White House. The White House is split into two. So there's actual like work functions in the White House. It's an actual government building, whereas the Prime Minister's residence is really just the residence where his family actually host dinners and stuff. Yes.
And so imagine the embarrassment, even if you look at Rideau Cottage, imagine the embarrassment when we bring world leaders into these homes that are falling apart. It's absurd to me. Like, why is this a thing? Why can we not just like rent or sell and buy a new house?
Well, that's not to dive into this because we have so many things to talk about
I know.
the election.
But I find this fascinating.
The National Capital Region actually just did a report with recommendations. So hopefully this 24 Sussex issue will be solved by the time we have to move Mark Carney out.
Okay. Moving along to other topics.
Yes.
So Poilievre is running in Alberta because he has to run somewhere that is safe. Because they can't risk him losing again, because that would be bad.
Yeah, we've seen this with leaders that have run in by-elections. I mean, Christy Clark comes to mind. She was elected Premier of British Columbia with no seat. She lost her seat to now Premier David Eby at the time. And she had to run in Kelowna, which was a safe seat for the BC Liberals at the time. So there's a lot of precedent around this. There was a lot of speculation about Alberta, of course, because that's really the heartland for conservatism in this country. And so there was people buzzing. Who's going to give him the seat? Who's going to give him the seat? A lot of people thought it would be Calgary. I actually thought that it might be Calgary, but he's running outside of Calgary, not a main urban seat.
And he's running in Alberta during the backdrop of this whole separation argument, which is also not fantastic.
No. Do you want to
But we'll
tell
see.
everybody about that?
Yeah. So Premier Danielle Smith, who we've had on this show,
Yes.
did not run on separating Alberta from Canada, but somehow seems to think that she has a mandate to talk about it. She wants to hold a referendum and has been stoking the fires on this idea that Alberta could separate from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I have many feelings about it. I'm sure everyone can tell what those feelings are. Namely, the fact that we're in the middle of massive trade negotiations with the US, critically important to our economy, critically important to jobs. So the fact that a key province is talking about separating in the midst of those negotiations.
Provinces. Quebec's still talking about it.
I mean, at least Quebec has a party that talks about it for, like, was actually
elected
to talk about it.
Yes.
Yes. Quebec actually took on Danielle Smith.
Yes, I saw that
a couple of days ago. Yeah, Blanchette, who's leader of the Bloc, said, if you're going to talk about separation, then it should be an identity argument.
Yeah,
and oil and gas does not make identity.
Yes.
So anyway, Danielle Smith, do the right thing. You should also know, fine listeners, that 8 out of 10 Albertans do not want to leave. They're not interested in separating.
Mm-hmm.
They view themselves as Canadians first. So for many of our Albertan listeners as well, we hear you. We see you.
My
I'm not loving this. Do you like this?
I don't like it. I think it's, but I don't even know how much sincerity there is behind it. I mean, Danielle Smith is say what you want about her. She is a smart lady. I think when we had her on the show, we pushed her a little bit. She like really feels these policies deeply. Like she knows who she is. There's a strategy here. I think that because the economy is on shaky ground, because Mark Carney is new, she sees a window of opportunity to push for economic growth, more money from the federal government for Alberta, and pipelines. That's what she wants. She wants a pipeline to increase the production of Alberta oil and add money to the economy in Alberta. And so I think she's kind of leveraging that to the best of her abilities by making this secession argument public and big. Whether or not they will actually do it, I think it's highly unlikely. But they may have a referendum on it. And like the polls that are coming out saying that there's very few people, hopefully will save the province and the Confederation and be right. But yeah, it's definitely like she's going for the jugular at a weak moment for the federal government, I think.
For sure. It's hard to make the Canada strong argument when a province is talking about making it weaker.
What are we going to do here in BC if they leave? We're going to have to like fly over.
What happens to BC?
I don't know. Do we like join Washington and Oregon? I have no idea. We'll be left over here alone.
I don't like it at all.
It's a weird situation.
It's a weird one. Okay, what else has happened since? So the Prime Minister also met with President Trump.
Yes, this is the first
official meeting between our Prime Minister, between the President.
That's right.
There was a great article about this. And I'm going to end up, I want to say it was in the Star. I could be wrong because I've read so many articles about this. One of the things that was really a funny way to describe it was that Trump has often said that when he's in discussions or negotiations, that he's a weaver, right? So he'll weave like 10 stories together. Yeah. So he'll like weave through. And he does this. If you listen to him, it's like, how do you even follow? You know, 1 minute he's on one topic and the next minute he's on 3 others and they're disparate. They don't even link together.
Yes.
So in this article, they said that he weaved and that Carney dodged. That Carney didn't dodge. That would be like what you'd need to do. But that he was like, instead, he was like the calm. He knew how to be like, don't say too many things. Don't aggravate the president.
Yes.
Don't overly, what's the word I'm looking for?
Agitate.
Like, don't overly agitate, but also don't like give him a big, group hug. It's not about that either. It's like, it's about sort of staying the course, repeating the message that you want repeated. So he said on many opportunities while he met with President Trump. Canada is not for sale. Canada will never be for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Did they come out with a trade agreement? No, they did not. No. But I think that, I think that they both described the meeting as amicable.
Mm-hmm.
I think they both described it as constructive or productive.
Here's the thing, though.
We didn't lose anything in that meeting, I will say.
This morning, Trump came out with the fact that he now has this trade deal with the UK. He did it. Mm-hmm. He got there. So is that a loss for Carney? Like, Canadians basically reelected him on the basis that he was the best person to deal with I was going to call him Donald Trump. And he goes down to Washington. He doesn't really get anywhere. He survives, which I really do believe that was like baseline. Like, he had to just survive. Then the next morning, he announces this trade deal with the UK. Was that a peg against the Carney team? You don't think so?
Because the UK has been able to negotiate with Trump's team, right, over the course of many weeks. Carney has just become prime minister again, and now those negotiations will happen and take place. No, nobody expected this first meeting to result in a trade deal. It wasn't even positioned that way. The teams weren't coming together to hash out a deal like we did with Kuzma. So I think that, all of those things are to follow. But I think what happened yesterday was that there is some fertile ground in which to sow some seeds, like in which to grow from. And I think that was the takeaway. I think Canadians, I hope, would feel that it was the kind of meeting that at least signaled that maybe something productive could happen, instead of the kind of meeting where they come out and it's like, fists were up, and they were like wanting to take, they weren't going to take. Exactly. It wasn't like that at all.
He noted that. Yeah, he noted that when Carney was there in the Oval Office. He's like, we had another guy here and that went off the rails. And I was like, oh totally. My God, this guy. But yeah, that Weaver concept. At one point, Donald Trump starts talking about building the Obama Library in Chicago. I was like, what? What is this guy?
All over the place.
How does he think? Like, this is and I've said this before on the pod. Like, I always come to it as, how do I prep, like, as a political strategist, like, how do I prep the leader? What's the strategy going in there? And like, I don't know what they were doing, because that guy is just everywhere and anywhere. But I will say, Mark Carney, my thoughts were he did okay. He did okay in the Oval Office. He
did better than okay. Come on.
I think he needed to do okay. Like, I don't think he needed to be outstanding, and I don't think he was. I think he really sat back, like you said, which was the optimal way to handle this situation. I think his press conference after at the Canadian Embassy was like a little bit shaky. He got a little bit angry, Mark, at one point when people were asking him, like, did you tell him not to say that Canada is the 51st state? And he was like, yes. And they're like, how did you tell him? What did you say? And he's like, I told him. And I was like, okay, we get it. Okay. So
I kind of like his no nonsense approach, though. Like, there's something about it that makes me feel like we're in capable hands.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like that. when that right-wing paper, I forget what it was. I don't know if it was like Canada Proud or one of those rebel, one of those, one of those,
Yeah.
And they were like hounding after him on the first day, and and they asked him some asinine question that they always ask to try to elicit some response that they can then, make money off their social media accounts. And instead of engaging, he just looked at them like kind of like in this sort of patronizing way. And he said to them, how long did you practice that line?
Oh, no.
And it was so well done. It's like, you're everybody right now. You're all of us. You're saying the things that we all once said. And there's something about his quiet confidence that I think is really compelling for people, especially in these uncertain times. It's like, you just feel like there's an adult in the room and you're in good hands.
I'm
At least
hearing
that's how I
behind the scenes that he's quite competent and that he is like really making some sharp decisions. So I'm going to give Mark Carney.
Okay, what are you going to give him?
A little bit. I know I'm going to give him a little bit.
I thought you were
going to
give him like a grade. I'm like, are you giving him a grade already?
No, he can't get a grade yet. He's only been prime minister for like 50 days total. So let's look ahead. Let's see what's going on. The most exciting thing for me is that the king is coming to Canada.
Oh my God.
And
it's so
also
exciting.
He is coming to read the throne speech, which is the first time we've had a monarch come since like Pierre Elliott Trudeau, I think, like the 70s maybe.
And Rachel, are you going to be there?
Oh gosh, maybe. I'm working on it.
We hope that for you.
I hope that too.
I will not be there, people, but I hope that for Rachel.
I might pass out on King Charles if I'm in that room. Just so excited.
This is a big deal.
Yes.
I love that this is happening.
Me too.
I think it's such a smart move.
It's such a smart move.
Such a smart move.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you why. And I'm going to give credit to my friend because she said this to me.
Okay, who?
My friend Joy. She said to me,
"Hi, Joy,"
that this is a really smart move because it kind of signals to Donald Trump that we are still part of the Commonwealth. And that Canada is not necessarily just alone and by ourselves in this great world, but we are actually part of a community of countries that is overseen by the king. And him coming to read a throne speech really signals that he is still the head of Canada. And the question that she had was, what message in the actual words of the throne speech does the king send to Donald Trump? And will the king have to look at that speech and will he say, okay, I'm going to say this, I'm not going to say this? Because typically the governor general just reads whatever the government writes. Will there be more editing by the king's team? And will there be a message to Donald Trump from the king in that speech?
Oh. All of that.
All of it.
That's a lot. That's a lot to
I don't know.
Consume. I don't know. We don't know. But I think so. Maybe.
Yeah. I think there will be a lot of people watching the words of that speech, not only because of the crazy point that we're at in Canadian politics, like our economy economically with Alberta and Quebec trying to leave, and this idea of like, how does Carney navigate all of these different winds to stay afloat, but also because it's wild to have the monarch actually reading those words. So I think there's a lot of people that want to know what those words will entail.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So that's coming up. The other thing that is coming up that's big news is cabinet.
Oh,
right?
God, we could do a whole episode on that. Okay.
And we will do a whole episode on it. But I think that what will be interesting as we watch for Carney's first cabinet, we've had some signals. And some of those signals are that, so he had when he was prime minister for 9 days before the election is called, he limited the size of cabinet. We understand that it's going to be a little larger, but still considered a small-ish cabinet by, I guess, historic standards. I do think, though, that we're going to see some familiar faces.
Okay.
So I think things that are interesting to watch. What role, if any, does Chrystia Freeland take?
Ding, ding, ding. That's exactly the question.
That is the question. I don't have a prediction on this. Trump mentioned two people yesterday.
Yeah.
He mentioned Trudeau and Freeland.
Did not like
obviously,
either.
as everyone will, he didn't like either. Obviously, she ran in the leadership. She was fundamental to the reason why Trudeau resigned. What role will she play? But she won her riding by a landslide, as she usually does. She is popular among MPs. There's, varying views on whether or not she did a good job in her portfolio. So she's one to watch. Melanie Joly, Francois Philippe Champagne, expect them to have big roles. Do they maintain the roles they have? So right now, finance, foreign affairs, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Just like this idea of like a refresh for the Liberals. Yep. I'd like to see them like really mix things up.
Like shake it up in
really
in the
shake
big
it up.
roles. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that with Melanie Jolie,
Mhm.
because of the Trump file or
Mhm.
LeBlanc. Those ones, like, I feel like Trump's like attached to them, so you can't really move them around.
Totally.
I would love to see Freeland not in cabinet. Like, that would really, to me, say we're going to try something new. She's been there for a long time, and with the Trump question, when Trump said that about her in the Oval Office the other day, I was thinking, like, there's no way he can put her in cabinet now, but we'll see.
We'll see.
I don't know. You know Mark Carney better. I'm not
I mean,
sure.
I don't, but I also think that he has a job to do to unite the country. It was the first message that he delivered. So I expect that we'll see definitely some members west of Ontario in this
Yeah.
cap.
Yeah.
There's been a few names that have been considered. Buckley Belanger, a former Saskatchewan cabinet minister.
Hmm.
He would represent the prairies. That could be interesting. Corey Hogan, he's a former deputy minister
Yes.
under Alberta's NDP government.
Mm-hmm.
That
And
experience
young.
could be
Young
really
guy.
valuable and young.
Mm-hmm.
There's some new faces, but faces that are really connected to Carney. So one of them is Tim Hodgson. He was a Bank of Canada consultant to Carney. He was the former head of Goldman Sachs, and he ran in former Trade Minister Mary Ng's riding of Markham Thornhill. He won that riding.
What
So
about the guy?
Another interesting person to watch.
The guy that won Pierre Poilievre's riding. Will he go
Bruce
to cabinet?
Vanjoy.
Vanjoy, that's his name.
I don't think
Will
so.
he go? No, you don't think so?
He's the Dragon Slayer, but I don't think he'll be in cabinet. I don't know. Do you?
No, maybe not. I don't know.
That
I don't
feels-
know. Maybe not, because he's also Ottawa, and we need.
Who in BC? We picked up some seats in Victoria.
We
That could
did.
be a place. That could be a place
Laurel
where
Collins' old
Mhm.
riding, Will Greaves, he's been talked about. He's downtown Victoria. That's a huge demographic shift. A lot of mainlanders moving over there post-pandemic. And that's been an NDP stronghold. It's now a Liberal riding. I'm always watching Terry Beach, who was a minister for a hot second and then did not make it back into cabinet, unfortunately, under the Carney government, which was a huge mistake by the prime minister. Will he go back? Terry's a young dad from British Columbia. Patrick Weiler is also the neighboring MP, and Jonathan Wilkinson, of course, from North Vancouver. There's 3 guys there that are potentials.
Yes.
And
there's some popular people on the East Coast as well. Former housing minister Sean Fraser.
Oh,
we expect him to.
I'm so interested
to get back into cabinet. Like, I hope he does. He's also such an excellent communicator.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Anita Anand and Sean Fraser are 2 former. Anita will be in, yes, for sure. These are 2 people that decided they weren't going to run in the last election under Trudeau. They bailed on Trudeau. They're like, we got to go. Then Mark Carney comes in. Rumor has it he reached out to both of these people and was like, hey, guys, I'm in. Let's do this together. And they decided they were coming back. So
they came back.
I don't know how Mark Carney doesn't reward these people for coming back.
I imagine
with
he will.
Cabinet positions. So I have no doubt we will see them at Rideau Hall. We're also hearing that this is going to take place on Monday the 12th. We will see Cabinet being sworn in. So that means that they are going to spend the weekend with people's photos on the wall and playing Cabinet Roulette, where you get to choose who goes where and why.
So we'll be back next week to talk about the new cabinet.
Yes.
Were we right? Were we wrong?
Where's Krista Freeland? Oh my God. Okay. Was there anything we didn't mention here? I think that was a pretty fulsome.
Yeah. You tell us, people who are listening. Is there anything you want us to cover in the coming weeks? Because we have a few episodes left before the end of the session in June. And we're really excited to bring you some new interviews, some hot takes on when Parliament comes back, it's going to be, so Parliament is coming back on
the 24th.
I want to say 24th. 24th
Yeah.
or 26th? 24th.
26th. That's the Monday. 26th.
Okay.
So next week they will do cabinet, then they will do swearing in. So every member has to be resworn in, even if they're reelected, because it's a new parliament. And then the parliament will go back. Typically, we see parliaments rise early to mid-June. And so this will be a very short one. And what they will get accomplished, we'll have to see. But we will be here for all of it. And we'll leave it there. Is that a good place to stop today?
I think it is.
All right. We will be back next Friday with another episode of Beyond a Ballot. We'll speak to you then.
Thank you for listening. New episodes air every Friday.
Subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram and find us at beyondaballot.com.